Order number 10, the Public Service Internship Bill, National Assembly Bill number 63 of 2022, second reading, resumption of debate.
Thank you. Members, the debate on this bill has been ongoing. You got a balance of 33 minutes on this to be concluded. And as of the last time it was not a paper, the member on the floor finished their contribution. So I don't know whether what I can see on my dashboard is for people who want to contribute on this bill. I will start with Honorable Gishimu Gidinji of Gishugu.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker, for the opportunity to contribute to this bill, the Public Service Internship Bill, sponsored by Honorable Naisura Lesuda. Honorable Speaker, from the onset, let me say that this is a very progressive bill that will address the issues, some of the issues that have been raised by the young people of this country, because it seeks to place them in a very good situation in terms of matters internship. And Honorable Speaker, this is a matter, though it has been happening in this country, has not been legislated. And when this bill now comes into place, Honorable Speaker, it is a bill worth being supported by every member for the interest of the young people of this country. However, Honorable Speaker, I would like to make some comments and proposals in respect of the bill that we would be discussing and probably making amendments towards the Committee of the Whole. Honorable Speaker, the Cabinet Secretary, who is indicated under the bill, is the Cabinet Secretary in charge of labor. However, I would like to consult with the sponsor of the bill to seek concurrence that we have the Cabinet Secretary who is in charge of public service, because this is a matter of public service. And going down the bill, you'll find that the institutions are in charge are the institution of the public service. Honorable Speaker, then under clause 6.1, it refers to a person in charge of the public service. I think, and in my opinion, with the concurrence of the sponsor, I'll be seeking an amendment so that we institutionalize the matter of internship than personalizing it, so that we leave it to the public service. Public service in itself is an independent commission, and once we say public service, it does not matter who will be in charge, but the public service as an institution will be in charge of the internship. And that also goes to clause 6.4, whereby the public service as an institution, as a commission, an independent constitutional commission will be required to do the recruitment. Honorable Speaker, under clause 9E, there appears to be a conflict or a misunderstanding between the supervisor and the mentor. I think we need to centralize an intern before, or to be, there should be only one person in charge of an intern, instead of having a mentor and a supervisor for ease of coordination of the activities of an intern. I think that is an area that I will also be seeking with the concurrence of the sponsor to have an amendment. Honorable Speaker, if you go to clause 10, Clause 10 provides for the stipend, which should be paid to the intern, and that should come by way of a regulation by the cabinet secretary. I think since a stipend is also very central to the issue of an intern, we should have the regulations also pegged on a specific time within which they should be made. And I will be moving an amendment to say that where a stipend has to be by a regulation by the CS, that has to be done within 6 months, so that we don't have a situation whereby an intern starts and ends the internship without the regulations being in place. Maybe 6 months from the date of assent of this act, of this bill into law. Honorable Speaker, under clause 11, it provides for a personal insurance cover, personal accident cover for an intern. I think there should be a general insurance cover, which should also cover any other medical issue and also matters of personal accidents. So I think that's an area that I will also be seeking to have an amendment during the committee of the whole. Honorable Speaker, if you look at the clause 14, clause 14 provides for grounds under which an intern can be discontinued. And Honorable Speaker, under these grounds, I think we should make it very lenient. We should not make it very strict, that if an intern does not appear at his or her place of work within 24 hours, you discontinue. I think we should make it a bit lenient, so that if an intern does not appear at the place of work for a longer period, like maybe 2 weeks, without any explanation or any permission from the supervisor or the mentor, I think that can also lead to gross misconduct or kind of disobedience. I think we should limit the discontinuation only to 2 grounds, whereby it can only be through a gross or dishonorable misconduct, or where an intern has already or has been found criminally liable, so that we can make it very easy for these interns to do their job. Finally, Honorable Speaker, if you look at the clause 15, which provides for the general regulations, I think we also need to peg or to put a limit of time under which the cabinet secretary who is in charge of the interns, that is, in my opinion, the cabinet secretary in charge of the public service, it should be given a time limit of about 6 months within which the regulation should be in place, so that we can be able to operationalize this act within a very reasonable time. Honorable Speaker, otherwise, this bill is very progressive, and with many amendments, or the few amendments that I've been able to highlight, it will be able to address the issues that the young people of this country, some of the issues that they've been indicating, where internship has not been very well structured in this country, and it will enable them to progress their careers. And one of the things that we should also be able to structure in this bill is to differentiate the internship by the national government and the internships by the county governments. And also, we should also indicate that the period that have been served by an intern should also be considered as part of the experience when an intern is also getting or applying for a permanent job in this country. Honorable Speaker, I beg to support.
Thank you. The member for Kitui West, you want to speak on this? Do you want to speak on this, member for Kitui West?
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Let me say that from the onset, that I support this bill. It's very important, especially for the unemployed graduates. This time in Kenya, we have so many people unemployed. The rate of unemployment is so high. So this bill is coming at the right time, especially to put the ones who are not employed through a program. Mr. Speaker, I note that it has not talked about the period of internship, although it's saying those ones who are not employed, but I thought it could talk about the period. Is it immediately after graduation? Because as I've said, the rate of unemployment is so high. So if we leave it open, even people who graduated like 20 years ago and have not gone through the internship, it will be open for them. So I think it's important that it states the period when this internship should be done. I have also noted that it's actually including some things which have not been included, like insurance. These days when they go for internship, there is no insurance, there is no medical cover, and this bill is actually addressing such. So it's a very a good bill, and is taking care of that. Otherwise, Mr. Speaker, I support, and I say I think it's good to address the period. Thank you.
Thank you. For Starehe.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. And from the onset, let me say I support this bill because it seeks to address some of the issues and most of the issues that the youth go through when it comes to matters employment. I think this is a step in the right direction, and this House should discuss more on these issues that have been raised even in what we've seen in the country, that the youth are claiming their space in this country. In matters internship, it goes without saying that this is an area that the youth have always experienced, have always been disadvantaged in terms of being manipulated and maybe being treated in not the right way. And I support my colleague who has come up with this bill because it seeks to address some of those challenges. Like, for example, if you look at the amount of exposure that these interns get at some of these areas they work in, it is very limited to being messengers. They are given these later duties. They are not exposed to attain experience in these fields that they work in. And it is only fair that we understand that the world is moving in a very revolving way, the world is advancing, and the technologies are changing every now and then. Most of these interns possess great knowledge, great wisdom, and great ideas on how to move this country forward. And it is only right that from now going forward that we treat these interns in the right way and actually use their manpower to move this country forward. So I support this bill, and also ask for the move of the bill to incorporate an element of making sure that once these interns finish the internship, they have a promise on being absorbed into these companies, into these areas that they work in, so that we can address the issue of unemployment. Mr. Speaker, we've seen the doctors' interns, people who are highly educated, suffering in the streets of Nairobi, asking the government of the day to absorb them, and actually begging even for a stipend that has been reduced from 260,000 to a meager 30,000, something that is very not favorable in the economic times that we are in. It is time that this House actually addresses most of the issues that have been addressed by the youth, and we come up with more bills that are progressive like this one, I support the bill, and thank you so much, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Likoni.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I stand to support the Public Service Internship Bill 2022 by my sister, Honorable Naisula Lesuda. Honorable Speaker, when I look at this bill, it seeks to preserve human dignity as set out in Article 19 of the Constitution through the realization of the economic and social rights, Honorable Speaker, and this is under Article 43(1) of the Constitution, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, I think recently we have seen some strike by the medical doctors, and this was because of the internship programs. Honorable Speaker, the bill will promote a clear linkage between education, training, and work. Honorable Speaker, most of the time when you see some advertisements, people are being asked whether you have some experience, whether you know the know-how about that job. So for any person to have placement on job, he needs to have some experience. So I know, Honorable Speaker, if we enact this bill, then it will be easier for our students coming from the university, from colleges and other education institutions and training, they can be able to have some experience, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the bill also promotes a well-structured and coordinated internship programs. Honorable Speaker, we want a coordinated, structured internship program so that we avoid these things of demonstration, we avoid so many challenges which our students or Kenyans who are coming from universities and colleges are facing, Honorable Speaker, in terms of placement on the jobs. Honorable Speaker, the bill also provides for remuneration of interns. It can be maybe a stipend or maybe a certain allowance so that it can assist them in terms of transport, also for subsistence as the intern contribute to the national building, because they also add value. Anytime they're in that program, they add value. So at least something should be done so that they can motivate them, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, the bill also enhances access to medical cover, which is very important, Honorable Speaker. Sick leave, which is also very crucial, Honorable Speaker. Maternity leave, it's also crucial, Honorable Speaker, as well as insurance, which enable the intern to access all the amenities, thus improving their well-being at the workplace, Honorable Speaker. Honorable Speaker, many years back, when our students graduate from university, it was mandatory that they are going to be placed for internship. But nowadays, most of them, they graduate, they're out from colleges, other education institutions, but they don't know where to go. They don't know how to acquire experiences. So, Honorable Speaker, with these few remarks, I want to say that I congratulate Honorable Naisula Lesuda, because when we enact this bill with some few amendments, so that it doesn't bring some crisis again in the future, I support, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Member for Sotik. For Sotik, are you contributing to this? Do you want to speak on this one? Member for Sotik, you are next on line. Use the next one.
The next one, okay. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I also rise to support this motion from our sister, actually my sister-in-law, Naisula Lesuda. A very, very important, yes. She's Mr. Speaker, I want to say that I speak on behalf of many of my constituents who are the beneficiaries of this very, very important program. Mr. Speaker, the government made a good decision in giving a chance to these young people so that they can be able to know the system, work in government, and also prepare themselves for future assignments. Mr. Speaker, I wanted to say one thing, and This is about the future of these interns. Mr. Speaker, I would like to see a provision in this bill where the students can be able to be absorbed in the department in which they are serving as interns. Because, Mr. Speaker, while we accept that is a very important program, it ends in 1 year. And Mr. Speaker, these young people, after 1 year, they come to see me again and say, what do we do? So, Mr. Speaker, I would like to see a change so that we can have a chance for them to serve in those departments they are serving, and they become part of the government system. Mr. Speaker, I support.
Thank you. Members, the time allotted for this particular bill is lapsed. I now call upon the mover to reply.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. I can see the honorable member from Trans Nzoia doing some sign language to me. I'll give him 2 minutes. You want to? And Honorable Loch also 2 minutes.
Wanyonyi?
Yeah, thank you very much for this chance. I thought I should be able to take 1 or 2 minutes and congratulate the member who actually moved this motion. That it's very important that we actually incorporate some time to both the colleges and the schools so that at least people who finish colleges or universities, whatever, they are given time to be able to prepare for whatever assignment it is for them. And therefore, it's important that actually this kind of program should be actually be part of schooling or college, whatever it is, so that people can grow, and when they go, they know where they are going, and particularly acquire what is required in that particular field. And therefore, I want to suggest that we actually incorporate this into the schools' syllabus or whatever it is, so that can be able to have either 2, 3, 4, 5 months acquaintance, so that can be able to prepare those who live in the colleges, whatever, for their future. We have people who don't even know what they are doing. They go to, they are employed, and they just become busybodies. So I think this is very appropriate, and I want to suggest that actually we have this incorporated in the school programs. I support.
Thank you. Honorable Watch.
Thank you, Honorable Speaker. Allow me to thank the Honorable Member Lesuda for coming up with this bill. Honorable Speaker, this issue of internship is a very important issue. As a person who was a beneficiary of internship in different area of specialization, which is the legal profession, I honed my skills and became the person that I am because of the internship that was offered to me, albeit in the informal sector. Structuring this and making sure that it is well thought out, guided by laws, so that you have equal opportunity, well thought out process of skills acquisition, how they are maintained, and eventually how we can absorb these people is something that this House should laud. The doctors' strike and the agitation that was out there is one that we should also give us food for thought and reflection, that what happens to these people after we spend so much time and resources. They have gone to school for 7, sometimes 8 years. How do we eventually ensure that these skills do not go to waste? Lastly, Honorable Speaker, as I support and congratulate the member, there is an agitation by the Generation Z. May have been about good governance and the financial bill, but the actual underlying issues were about opportunities. This bill will be able to create a platform and opportunities for some of those generations, some of whom are in universities, some of those generations that are following, like the Alpha generation, so that they can enter into a structured system of government where they can learn, acquire skill, and use them for national development. I thank you, Honorable Speaker.
Thank you. Honorable Lesuda.
So thank you very much, Honorable Speaker, for this opportunity. to reply to this bill. And I just want to thank each and every member in this House who contributed. I want to say that your input is very valuable to the improvement of this bill, Mr. Speaker. I had written a long list of members who contributed, but I think I misplaced it. I'm not able to call you out by name, but I just want to thank you very much. I have picked a number of issues, Mr. Speaker, which I wanted to bring to the attention of this House and also to Kenyans on some of the comments that members have raised, which I think would be important for us to agree as we move to the next stage. The issue of 24 hours for the internship to be terminated, I agree with you that something could have happened to an intern, and in 24 hours they are not able to get in touch with their respective workplace. So 24 hours is very short, but also a week or 2 weeks is too long. It can be misused. So we can agree on the time frame, maybe 48 hours or 2 days. At least an intern should be able to have gotten in touch with their workplace on why they are not able to report to work. Honorable Geshangi also mentioned a very important point, which we were struggling with, whether we place it under the Ministry of Labor or the public service. And I agree with you that the Cabinet Secretary should be of public service. But why we did not go through the route of the commission, and we've had engagements with them and even with the committee, is because not all employment happen at the Public Service Commission. The Parliamentary Service Commission gives opportunity to interns as well, but they do it as PSC. The Judicial Service Commission also employs and even gives opportunity to interns, but not through the Public Service Commission. It does through its own commission. So if we limit it only to the Public Service Commission, honorable members, then we will only be limiting ourselves to that space, while there are other commissions and other entities where people actually get internship or get employed. With something we had canvassed at length. There is also the issue of employment, absorption into employment. And interns have reached out to me from the public. They have really sent messages. You know, they have our numbers. Wanatusalimia tu when they feel like. So they've been sending me messages that it is not enough to just go through the internship. They want to be absorbed. This we also canvassed. And because it will have a budgetary implication to the country, we really debated, and we said, because we are not sure on how many people are going on retirement, we are not sure of the budgetary allocation, it is something that we can amend in the bill and say that interns be given priority. So that when the interns move, then others get an opportunity through internship. Because it is unfair that an intern, and I've seen at least with TAC, they had incorporated that in the merit section during employment, if you have done internship and it builds to experience, you get a number of marks. It adds to your marks when you're going for an interview. So this is something we will continue also to deliberate upon, but I think as an amendment, we will include about giving priority to interns when recruitments happen. There is also the issue that was raised on the time frame. Currently, PSC, Public Service Commission, has a time frame when you can be an intern. I think it is until I don't know how many years. They don't take people who graduated much earlier for internship. And people are saying that is discriminatory because they are supposed, anybody, provided you're a graduate, should be able to do internship. And maybe they've been applying for so many years, even 5 or 10 years, and they've not been able to get internship, or they don't have godfathers to get them internship. So we're not supposed to discriminate upon them by not giving them internship. So maybe the time frame we will consider during the next stage of amendments, whether we should do away with it or we make it a longer time, Mr. Speaker. And so I want to thank Honorable Geshangi today, Honorable Nyenze of Kitui West, Honorable Mishimboko, Honorable Wanyonyi, and Honorable Luoch for their contribution. And Honorable Wanyonyi, what you have said about including it when the students are in school, it is captured. on who can be an intern. You can do it at the end of your schooling, or you could do it at, as you continue with your education as part of your, because some of them do internship in between, before they graduate as one of the requirements. So that is captured. I wanted also to raise the issue that has been raised about the medical cover. I agree. Maybe we might have to call it to do a proper medical cover and not just the accident insurance. It's something that the government can look at. Even as we move to shift, they can come up with a package that takes care of our interns, generally in terms of a medical cover and not just the accident insurance. I agree with you. This is something that we can look out for. I just want to allay some fears that some members had. For example, the majority deputy leader, Honorable Baya, who was saying that he feels like this bill is going to provide cheap labor in this country, where the interns, because we've given them a stipend, we've given them the insurance cover, that we will, the maternity leave, that we are on, and paternity leave as well, that we are going to misuse them because we feel we have taken care of them to work for us cheaply. That is not the import or the intent of this bill, Mr. Speaker. This bill just dignifies the interns because they are working anyway. Even if you say that we don't want to make them to give us cheap labor, they are actually working. And so as they work, what this bill does is that we dignify them with the services that they're offering at that particular time as an intern, Mr. Speaker. And I wanted to use this opportunity also to raise the issue of the JSS teachers who have been suspended from their duties across the country because of participating in their right when they demonstrated, when they wanted to be employed, Mr. Speaker. There are about 700 and something JSS teachers across the country whose contracts were terminated, Mr. Speaker. I want to use this floor of the House to talk to TAC that kindly treat our teachers as human beings. They were on the streets because they were feeling bad because they've not been employed, and it is unfortunate that their contracts have been terminated when we have put money in this supplementary budget so that they can be employed. And so it is unfortunate that those teachers have been offering their services, and then when they are just about to be employed, Mr. Speaker, TAC now terminates their contract, Mr. Speaker. I know that they have been asked to appeal. They have done letters to TAC. They are waiting to go for interviews, the oral ones, to present their case. I want to call upon TAC this morning that they hasten that process. They return the JSS teachers to work so that when they will be employed, then they will be employed together with the other 46,000 teachers who are going to be employed when we pass the supplementary budget in this House, Mr. Speaker. And so, as I conclude, I want to thank members. I hope we will enrich this bill as we go to the third reading with the amendments. I am free to consultations because, Mr. Speaker, this bill, I started working on it last term. But it has come at the most appropriate time, Mr. Speaker, when our young people are talking to us as leaders. They are speaking to us as a country to consider them, to think about them, to make laws that work for them, and to be considerate, Mr. Speaker, of their well-being. And with those very many remarks, I want to reply. Thank you.
So, members, I therefore then put the question that the Public Service Internship Bill, National Assembly Bill number 63 of 2022, be read a second time. Will as many of the opinion say aye? Will as many of the opinion say nay? Ayes have it.
A bill for an act of Parliament to make provision for internship of college and university graduates in the public sector, to provide for hands-on training and acquisition of skills by graduates and for connected purposes.
Next order.
Order number 11.